Hi everyone, and welcome to the session for today. We're going to talk about remote working, what is it worth, and also how is end user services evolving and what is evolving it. So today I'll go through some of the trends and impacts that happened last year, 2020, up to 2020 I would say, and what impacts those changes and trends have had on workplace design. I'll also present some of the values we bring into customers and the partner organizations. So at present, the biggest forces pushing forward for changing the evolution of end user services are ways of optimization, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation and robotics overall, and even cost reductions. But also the increase of productivity, improved employee experience and engagements are forces that we see are pushing this development forward. AI tools are virtually all algorithm derived from machine learning programs. So algorithms, they take decision making away from the employees and move it to the experts. That means that the data experts or data scientists who build the AI tools. AI and optimization is not always the answer for everything. So as an example, suppose you have a truck driver that discovers a better way to get in and out of loading docks. Who does he go to tell this to if it's all based on AI? So the algorithms, they save money and gas on an average, but the worker-generated innovations, that they're not going to happen if we pull away the empowerment and institute the planning and controls associated to optimization. Transferring the decisions from line managers and workers to experts in software has significant costs that are hard to track. So if we want to look at values and business values based on what we can deliver, AI is not the only solution that we can see, because it is harder to track. One is that it undermines the supervisors and line managers' work in the way that, because they are responsible for hiring, scheduling and assessing performance of the employees, and that has always been the source of their authority. So if we look at the IT challenges today, as you see on the picture here, what we're seeing from IT normally is that they set up a platform that they want to deliver IT services on. And in any IT organization or any organization overall, there's always going to be people or groups that are not going to comply with that. They want to do something else. So say in this case, that you see on the bottom right, you see a IT organization that they set up a platform that is a standard, and in this case it would be soccer. But there's always some people or some person coming out saying, I don't want to play soccer, I want to be an ice hockey goalie. So how are we going to be able to deliver services to them in the way that they want to consume it without having to build a new platform? So these are also things that we can see are trending and are impacting the way that we are working. So one of the learnings then from last year, or for the last 12 months, has been that we can do this, mainly because we need to, but also that we can do more than we think and we're capable of. So even though it seemed impossible before, we've actually been able to manage and deploy services to our end users that previously took months or years, or even we said was impossible. We've been forced to let go of our needs to control every single part of the planning and strategy, and realizing that we're aiming for a moving target because things changed all the time. The need to be agile and dynamic in approach and in the strategies has proven to be very successful in times like these, and we can do more than we think, just as long as we go outside of our safety zone. So think beyond what we've done before. We've also been able to do more with less and forced to be more innovative and also be creative with our solutions. So launch quickly and fail fast has been tested to the fullest during this period, and we've still managed to keep safety of data, resources and employees in focus. And like we mentioned before, the way that we've deployed services previously is we've thrown data and technology to the end users or the employees, but that doesn't automatically give them more or making them more productive or give them a better user experience. It rather makes them more confused because they have bigger choices and what am I going to use and where and why. And many times we're talking about the employee engagement and empowerment and productivity, and it's an argument based on an IT perspective and focus, but it's not taken into account the perspective that IT mostly is driven by things based on algorithms, like we mentioned, and software, which is not always a positive effect on productivity, innovation, and engagement. So the parts of machine learning, AI, IoT, and robotics, they are examples of tools for automation, but the alignment of them with engagement, enablement, empowerment of people is needed to drive positive effects to increase productivity, efficiency, and the value. And it's only if IT if it's only IT driven, it will kill innovation and engagement from the employees. So what is employee experience then? If we're looking at the employee experience and employee engagement, first of all, employee experience, what's the definition of that? So the definition of employee experience is the sum of employees' perceptions of their experience working for an organization. So why are we talking about this then? It's because we need to understand what the customer or the organizations that we deliver services to, how are they working? What are the struggles that they have? How do they see the issues of delivering productivity increasing services to their employees? So how can we help them assist by doing this? So we need to understand then how the employees interact with the organizations. And there are three things that they do here. That's looking at the culture, the technology, and the physical space of that organization where they reside or work. That also gives us the view of understanding how they work, which brings that value back and insight to our services, where we can actually tailor and deploy services that are specifically suitable for the way that they work. That also allows IT and other managers to pursue a position where they have a choice to mix best practices and allows the organization to capture the positive effects of letting the end users and employees have a say in designing their jobs in a better way, and therefore also empowering them to improve the productivity and quality of work. So if they're empowered, they're engaged, they also become better at working the way they've done before. This is also shown in parts of where you can decrease some of the elements of stress. And this is where we come to this slide. So keeping the employees on the right track to engagement and keeping them away from the path to burnout. So we want to make sure that we can reduce or eliminate some of the elements that keep them or move them in the direction of the path to burnout. The difference between having flow and not having flow is the difference between finding the meaning in your work or going towards burnout. So the good news is that IT organizations have a tremendous role in facilitating flow. It's because we can provide tools to do the task that they are set to do. And also it runs the risk of getting in the way of flow, because we by getting in the way of flow, we also reduce the user productivity. So we have to have some kind of checkpoints during the time we deploy and deliver service, and always continuously improve to remove those elements that appear. So we or you, as providers of services to IT leaders, we sit on the crosshairs of productivity, flow, and engagement, which elevates your position in the business. That also means that we can actually prove value higher up in the organization by saying that this is what we can deliver and these are the values that we can also deliver to your organization that you can start consuming. So we can avoid some things or that we can reduce costs. But armed with the information that we have here, IT should no longer be a cost center only. It's an instrumental part of the business, and we therefore can also prove value. And if you want to change the way that business thinks of what you do as IT professionals or what we do, we need to change our mentality and focus on the enablement of productivity to push the business forward and show the value of what we can deliver to that organization. So what's the best way of doing this then? If we're looking at the way that we deploy services and the new way of consuming workplace, we've seen that last year we used a strategic planning model that was more of a dynamic approach. But the strategy here is setting it up is not always including, not only include what you want to do and what you want to accomplish in a long time period, but also what you try to avoid. So therefore the dynamic approach is more flexible, because when things appear and things happen, you would always have the choice to change and apply and also react on those changes that might appear that is hindering and stopping you from reaching your visions. So that means that you don't have to plan for everything to the end. So use case-by-case scenarios. You gather data, evidence, and time also gives you certainties and proof of your success. It also gives you room for flexibility and further development. So by using the time zones of tactical, which is more short-term, strategic, which is mid-term up to 3 years, and then your visionary is between 3 to 5 years. You can start small, grow fast in a controlled way, but then you can also at the end think big and bold, but you can also do step-by-step dynamic approaches to this launch and delivery of services that you want to do. So this approach and model allows us and our customers to define more tangible milestones, which are easier to accomplish, and it's also enabling the account team to better control the progress and react quickly for unforeseen events, to make the customer happy at all times and be able to react if anything is needed to change. So how do we calculate values on these things? One of the big trends that we see for this year is a lot of customers are focusing on sustainability. Sustainability consists of 4 pillars. Like we see in this slide, it's employee smack in the middle, the employee wellness and experience, which also aligns to our market messaging and what we sell. Environmental and economic society is one more. Then you have leadership governance, where we have compliance functionalities, and then the other one, the last one, is business models and innovation. So if we look at what we at Citrix can impact, we assist and impact the customer sustainability framework positively, and we do that in different ways. This means that we can affect the environment aspect of this, so the CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas and carbon footprints, but also the human sustainability part and the elements which includes mental and physical health, employee wellness, and all other efforts of removing and reducing elements of stress and avoiding the path to burnout. So by using our analytics part, the security features that we have, the ADC, the whole package of wall-to-wall product and implementation of our services, we're actually also complying, contributing to reaching the sustainability targets of our customers. So if we look at what Citrix are doing, we actually start by saying that Citrix, we believe our role in sustainability is working with sustainability starts by understanding the technology that the customer is using. So by doing that, we can also start working upwards, but we also give the customer an opportunity to talk to us about things that are outside of IT, which means that we actually can connect to a network outside of IT and talk to line of business managers or sustainability responsible people in the organization of a customer. Which also could include HR. So we're expanding our communication to other areas in that organization. So what do we do? How can we calculate the values of human sustainability with Citrix solutions? We split this up in the 4 pillars, as you can see on the slide. But we also set some of the elements of the different sustainability pillar measurements where we can influence them either directly, indirectly, or have just an impact or influence of them. So an organization will always view itself as a member of society and promote business values that respect human capital. In this way, human sustainability also focuses on the importance of anyone directly or indirectly involved in making products or provisioning services to the customers or the customers of the customers that we have, so the customer's customer. Communities around the globe, they may be positively or negatively affected by business activities or impacted through methods used to source raw materials. So that's the environmental part. Human sustainability encompasses the development of skills and human capacity to support the functions and sustainability of the organization that they're working in, or they can also promote the well-being of the communities and society. So as an example here from the view of what you have seen in the slide, one thing that we've seen in EU at least is mental illness has a major impact on health and well-being in the EU. So there's an estimated of 350 million working days that were wasted each year, and I think it's even more last year because those numbers haven't come in yet. And those are due because of stress and depression only. So according to a study that was made, the total cost of work-related depression in 24 EU countries that was estimated to close to 620 billion euros per year. And that's also only measuring people being long-term sick, physically or mentally, from work from day 14 and on, because that's when they have the rehab allowance. So that's not taken into account the day 1 to day 13. So there's huge amounts of money being spent on this. It was costing society a lot of money. And this is also where we see some of our customers and also some of the insurance companies are selling health as a service. So these are things that we also can put a value on. And like I said, it doesn't have to be dollars or monetary terms. It could be also days and other things. So if we look at the model that we normally use when it comes to business value estimates. The one you see on the slide here is to the left is the cost of on-prem solutions, and the middle graph here is then what it's going to cost a company to move to cloud, with the green parts being business values. Phase 2 is the secondary part where we can see additional benefits coming in when production is up and you go for a bigger adoption and expansion, and also parts where we can actually enable these business values to be realized in monetary terms. This example here shows a profit or cost reduction or a benefit of moving to cloud by approximately $500,000 per year. So we normally do this by proving values of business impacts, but also reductions of hardware and administration operations that we see on the on-prem solutions. So the best way forward, like we want to show here, is not a single solution that you install, apply and launch and then leave it for building a strategy moving forward and call it optimization, because we need to continuously work with this. There's also a need to enable managers and organizations to combine optimization, which would be cost cuts and layoffs and etc., with the forces of engagement and empowerment. So talking to the customers, driving them forward, and making sure that we understand why they're using it for specific business cases, because they change over time. And this is where Citrix plays a role to enable the most efficient combination of optimization and engagement to reach maximum outcomes for productivity and user experience and efficiencies, but of course also business value for our customers. So we passed the period of new normal. And since, let's face it, the new normal, it changes almost every week, and it will be doing so in the coming year also. So let's look at 2021 and be bold and creative when we plan for the future by being more dynamic in our planning of strategies, and also looking for a more sustainable future workplace model. So thank you for listening and have a great day.